The most successful podcast partnership in influencer history just imploded on camera, and the moment Tana Mongeau suggested deleting years of their content, you could literally watch Brooke Schofield's soul leave her body. What started as an innocent conversation about the future turned into a financial nightmare that has fans telling Brooke to lawyer up immediately. This is the messy breakdown of a friendship worth millions, and why Tana might be trying to erase Brooke from existence. 4 years ago, nobody wanted Brooke Springfield on the canceled podcast. Tana's hardcore fans were still bitter about some drama involving someone named Mindy, and they made it crystal clear that this random girl had no business sitting next to their queen. The comments were brutal, the hate was real, and honestly, most people would have quit after the first episode. But Brooke stuck it out, and something magical started happening. Episode by episode, the tide began to turn. Brooke's unhinged stories started going viral. Her chaotic energy matched Tana's perfectly. And suddenly, the comments flipped completely. People weren't just tolerating Brooke anymore. They were obsessed with her. The girl who used to take laxatives with her sorority sisters became the breakout star of the show. Remember when she admitted to sticking a pen in her cheek trying to create a dimple? Or when she casually mentioned thinking she could get a tan from a light bulb? These moments didn't just entertain people. They built an empire. The success was undeniable. Canceled racked up millions of views per episode, sold out worldwide, and turned both women into legitimate media moguls. Brooke went from being Tana's sidekick to being the reason people tuned in. The most iconic canceled moments weren't Tana's stories anymore. They were Brooke's confessions that had everyone's jaws on the floor. She had found her voice, built her fan base, and carved out her place in the influencer world. Everything was perfect until it wasn't. The downfall started in 2024 when screenshots of Brooke's old tweets began circulating. We're talking about seriously problematic content, especially regarding Trayvon Martin, that painted her in the worst possible light. The same fans who once championed her were now calling for her head, and the controversy threatened to destroy everything she'd worked for. Tana temporarily removed her from the podcast, giving Brooke space to grow and learn, but the damage was already done. Then came the Miles McFly situation, which somehow made everything worse. Brooke's relationship with this guy became another source of outrage when fans discovered his past interactions with a 17-year-old model when he was nearly 30. Whether they actually dated or not didn't matter to the internet mob. They had already decided Brooke's judgment was questionable at best. The woman who once could do no wrong was now public enemy number one, and you could feel the shift in every episode. The podcast that thrived on chaos suddenly felt sanitized and careful. Both Tana and Brooke were walking on eggshells, avoiding the kind of messy content that made them famous in the first place. They weren't talking about their dating disasters anymore because they were both in serious relationships. The stories that once had millions hanging on every word were replaced by safe, boring conversations that felt forced and unnatural. Tana started talking about her peace era, how she wanted to distance herself from controversy and drama. She was getting major brand deals, working with companies like Tarte Cosmetics, and seeing the kind of mainstream success that comes with playing it safe. Meanwhile, Brooke was still dealing with the fallout from her cancellation, watching opportunities slip away while her co-host ascended to new heights. The power dynamic that had once felt balanced was now completely lopsided. That's when they announced Cancel would be ending. And honestly, nobody was surprised. The magic was gone, the chemistry felt forced, and it was clear that both women had outgrown what the podcast represented. They planned to finish out their contract like professionals, but then Tana dropped a bombshell that changed everything. During what should have been a routine discussion about their future, Tana casually mentioned that she might delete all the canceled episodes from her YouTube channel. She wanted to go back to vlogging and wasn't sure if keeping the podcast content aligned with her new direction. It sounded innocent enough until you saw Brooke's reaction. The color drained from her face as she realized what this meant for her bank account. "What do you mean delete all of canceled?" Brooke's voice cracked as the reality hit her. This wasn't just about preserving memories or maintaining their legacy. This was about money, and lots of it. Those episodes generated thousands of dollars in AdSense revenue every month, money that Brooke was counting on to maintain her lifestyle. The woman who helped build the canceled brand was about to watch it disappear because Tana wanted a clean slate. The conversation that followed was painful to watch. Brooke desperately tried to explain how much she needed that revenue stream, mentioning she was counting on at least $1,000 here and there from the archived content. Tana seemed genuinely surprised that deleting the episodes would affect Brooke financially, which tells you everything about their different situations. When you're getting major brand deals and launching new ventures left and right, a few thousand in AdSense probably feels like pocket change. But for Brooke, who doesn't have the same diverse income streams, that money represents security. She put years of her life into building something she was proud of, something that launched her career and gave her financial independence. The thought of watching it all disappear because her former best friend wanted to rebrand was devastating. You could see the panic in her eyes as she realized how powerless she was in this situation. The fans saw it too, and they were not having it. The comment section exploded with people telling Brooke to lawyer up immediately. They called Tana's behavior shady, manipulative, and completely unfair to someone who was instrumental in the podcast's success. Comments ranged from supportive to outright angry, with many pointing out that while Tana built the channel to 2 million subscribers, Brooke helped turn canceled into the cultural phenomenon it became. People were writing things like, "Tana wants to erase Brooke completely, and this is so calculated and mean." The consensus was clear. Fans felt like Tana was trying to rewrite history and pretend the canceled era never happened. After everything Brooke had been through, watching her former best friend casually discuss destroying their shared legacy felt like the ultimate betrayal. What made it even more suspicious was the timing. Trisha Paytas, Tana's new podcast partner and closest friend, had successfully rebranded herself from controversial figure to mainstream darling. Since becoming a mother, Trisha cleaned up her image, started getting major opportunities, and proved that redemption was possible in the influencer world. Tana clearly wanted to follow the same path, and being associated with recently canceled Brooke wasn't going to get her there. When Trisha addressed the situation on her own podcast, she sided completely with Tana. She argued that if Tana wanted the content removed because there were things she regretted saying, that should be her right as the channel owner. Trisha barely acknowledged Brooke's financial concerns or the fact that she had equal claim to the success of those episodes. It felt like Trisha was validating Tana's decision to prioritize her own rebrand over her friendship with Brooke. The whole thing reeked of calculated career moves disguised as personal growth. Tana wasn't just moving into a new era. She was actively trying to erase the old one. The same content that made her millions was now an embarrassment she wanted to hide from potential brand partners. It's the classic influencer move. Use controversy to build your platform, then distance yourself from it once you want mainstream success. Realizing she'd stepped in it, Tana posted a lengthy TikTok trying to walk back her comments. She claimed she was just thinking out loud and shouldn't have brought up deleting the episode so casually. According to her explanation, she'd been watching old clips during their tour and wished some of those moments could be wiped from the internet entirely. She insisted she would never do Brooke wrong financially and acknowledged how vital her former co-host was to the podcast's success. But here's the thing about damage control. It only works if people believe you actually learned something. Tana's apology felt more like PR cleanup than genuine regret. She was careful to maintain that it was still her channel and her decision, even while promising not to screw over Brooke. The underlying message remained the same. She wanted to move forward without the baggage of her past, regardless of how it affected anyone else.
The whole situation perfectly illustrates why mixing friendship with business is so dangerous. When money and power dynamics get involved, even the strongest relationships can crumble. Tana holds all the cards here. She owns the channel, has the bigger platform, and gets the major brand deals. Brooke is essentially at her mercy, hoping her former friend will do the right thing when millions of dollars are on the line. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that Brooke genuinely seemed to believe their friendship would protect her. She thought their years of partnership and shared success meant something beyond the business arrangement. The moment she realized that Tana could casually discuss erasing their shared history was the moment she understood how expendable she really was in this equation.
The fans see it clearly, even if Brooke doesn't want to admit it. Tana is positioning herself for a redemption arc that requires leaving certain people and certain eras behind. She's watched Trisha successfully transition from controversial figure to mainstream darling, and she wants that same transformation. Unfortunately for Brooke, she represents the messy, problematic past that Tana is trying to escape. This isn't just about podcast episodes or AdSense revenue. This is about what happens when someone you trusted with your career decides you're no longer useful to their brand. Brooke helped build something incredible, only to watch her former best friend consider destroying it the moment it became inconvenient. That's not just business, that's betrayal on the deepest level. As Canceled limps toward its final episodes, the real question isn't whether they can end things amicably. It's whether Brooke will finally realize that some friendships don't survive success, and that the person she thought had her back was actually planning her exit strategy all along. The girl who once took laxatives with her sorority sisters deserves better than being erased by someone who owes their empire to her stories. The Canceled podcast might be ending, but the drama between its former hosts is just beginning. And honestly, this might be the most authentic content either of them has produced in years.